Hi everybody, this is Randy Thompson with Horse and Rider Awareness. Today I'd like to have a short visit with Allie as she talks about the changes she's seen in Chapa since she's been working with me on developing her horse's muscle structure and the way that he's moving. So Allie, what you are noticing today is that you've seen that he started to develop new muscles in less than 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see the changes in Chapa? Can you
First,
show them?
This you're not going to be able to see up in here, but this muscle up in here, when I'm cleaning him, it is really prominent. You can actually really see very good. And at one point I have to go to the other side to make sure it wasn't nothing wrong with him, because it was pretty big.
It was pretty big. So you notice when the muscles first start developing, you're not sure if it's even a muscle because it just pops out of nowhere, it seems like, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even saw it coming. And I was brushing her and I go, oh my God, what's wrong with him? I touch him and I go, no, hold on. Okay.
And this is a sign that a horse is being worked correctly when you can see new muscles developing. Okay, here's the back here. When I first met Chapa, he had what we call cow hips. I'm going to go around the back here.
Let me stand him up better.
We're going to back him up a little bit. And what cow hips are is when the point of the hip here sticks out. You can see it's still sticking out just a little bit here right now. And that will fill in with muscle. It already has. You can feel right above the hip there, if you could touch it right there. Yeah, right in that area. That's new muscle that's developed here. And what I noticed today was the muscle behind the saddle has picked up. Yes, this whole area right in here.
Right here.
Yes. Yes.
This one?
And let me follow it down with the camera so people can see. That's a new muscle. It's actually got some definition there now. And his gaskin muscle, right through here, this area there. Yes, yes. You can see that's starting to pop out now too. Let me get behind the legs so we can see how that's developing. And then we'll have video copies. We should have done this the first day we did it. So what we're seeing is there's new muscle development that's happening right in this area right in here, which wasn't there before. Yeah, right in there, the gaskin area. And muscle definition happening on either side of the tail. Let's see, and the neck muscle, can we see anything different with the neck? Let's go to the other side where we can actually see it underneath of the mane. So when I first met Chapa, his biggest muscle was at the bottom of his neck. That's right. And now what's happening is he's actually getting muscles on the top line.
Well, here you can actually see it much more, but if you come on the side, you can start seeing it, muscle it up.
That's right. Let's see if we can get it so we can actually see it in the camera. You may not be able to see it. And then, of course, the other place we've noticed it is between his front legs. And when we first met him, he had very little, if any, chest muscles. He's, as you can see, a little more developed on the left side, but most horses, like humans, are more developed on one side than the other. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that information with us.
You're welcome, Rennie.
As I've been looking at Alex's position today, I noticed that her tendency as a hunter-jumper type of rider is that she's not changing the length of her stirrups between jumping and the flat work. So what I've done now is I've actually lengthened her stirrup a hole so she has a longer leg for the flat work that she can get wrapped more around the horse. How does that feel different for you, Allie?
I kind of like it a little bit more. I think it's going to help me give it a little bit more correct aids, or have more room to play with, I guess.
That's right. It's a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I could jump like this though, but
no, because it's a flat position, and as you've noticed, a lot of people in between, like their the equitation classes and the jumping classes and stuff, they'll be switching the length of their stirrups.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Cool. So Alex, as we're working on the half halt, you brought up an interesting point that many riders may not realize even when they're riding, and that's how much you have to shorten and lengthen your reins to be able to, first of all, keep them inside of your little money box, because you know if your rein isn't there, it's really not effective. But you also notice that every time you change directions or doing anything, you have to change your rein length quite a bit. Tell me what you're experiencing with that.
Well, at the first, I don't know if it's the old school or maybe my own mind. I had the impression of getting on the horse, setting up the length, and if the rein goes longer, you used to think that it's because my fingers are opening and my reins are sliding, which actually is not the case. Because each gait, to me, or for us, will have their own different length. I cannot expect him to walk like this and canter with the same reins, because for the canter I'm going to have to shorten up my reins, and it's not because they're slipping off my fingers, and it's very, you have a point though that you have to be shortening up and lengthening it up until you find the balance for your reins and legs and your gait in transitions. Because when I saw it on Lisa, and that's when I started thinking about it, you know, in rethinking, oh yeah, I do that too. Shorten up your reins when you're about to make a transition, or lengthen up your reins. It's just, how can I say it?
You just have to keep shortening and lengthening all the time.
Yeah.
That's what all the good riders are doing. They're adjusting their reins.
it's-
They're just catching it sooner. It might take you 2 inches before you catch it, and the ones that do it all the time are catching it in 1/4 of an inch.
But it's
We're
not.
taught not to pick up our reins and then immediately go either. You know, I remember, don't pick up your reins and then go, because then your horse will think it means to trot. You know, and it was pick up your reins like 10 feet before you were supposed to take off. And
Yeah, but still, you know, when I saw it on you, and you'll be able to see it when when we're working on Sailor, when you were working on Sailor of having walk and trot, right? You have 2 different lengths of reins, and for him to walk with a little bit more push, it doesn't mean trot. So you have to shorten up your reins for him not to trot,
right.
right?
And but
So-
then to get him to reach more.
But you can't have that reins like that if you're not asking him to push, because he will stop. So you have to lengthen your reins for that.
And add leg.
Yeah, and if you want to go with a little bit more push, what you're going to do? You're going to shorten up your reins because it's going to be more tendent to go forwards because you're pushing him
Right.
with your legs, but you don't want him to trot.
Right.
It's a fine balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to.
What you'll notice what it does is it starts getting the horses to where they listen more to everything that you're doing with your body. Because we're changing our aids all the time, no matter what we're doing. It's just so subtle that most people don't know how much we're really doing it.
Yeah,
You know, when we're doing it correctly, I can feel every single step.
Yes.
Every step my horse takes, I can feel it. Whereas when I know when I'm not, and when I'm kind of just flying around, because it seems like we're here and then we're over there, and I'm not quite sure how I got there. You know? It's all kind of. So yeah, no, the contact, it's just amazing.
Where it changes. That's good. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback, Lisa and Allie.